Okay, welcome to video 2 of the lecture on 19th March. So far what we've discussed is that player 1 doesn't know what game is being played, player 2 does. So you could think of this as a state of the world. Player 1 doesn't know whether we're in this state of the world or this state of the world, or you could think of this in terms of player 2 having types. So player 1 doesn't know whether player 2 is of this type that wants to be with player 1, or player 2 is of this type that wants to avoid player 1. And so how do we evaluate player 1's best strategies and things like that here? Now, because there are probabilities involved, we're going to be pulling from the von Neumann-Morgenstern preferences we talked about earlier. So preferences over lotteries. At this point, player 1's payoff will be a lottery, right? Player 1 doesn't know what the state of the world is. And so we'll just have to work with that. Any equilibrium here will have to specify what each type of player 2 would do. So if player 2 is of this type, then what would this player 2 do? And if player 2 is of the other type, then what would player 2 do? Or alternatively, you could think of an equilibrium having to specify what each player would do in each state of the world. So for player 1, there's just one, right? Just get one action, you don't know what the state of the world is actually. For player 2, there's two actions that have to be specified. So let's say that player 2 plays B in this game and S in this game. If that is the case, then we can evaluate what player 1's expected value is from playing B, given that, or let's just take that as given that player 2's strategy is BS. So then that will equal, with a probability 1/2, if player 1 is playing B, and player 2 plays B here, player 1 gets 2, that's 1/2 times 2. Plus, with a probability 1/2 within this state of the world, where player 2 is going to be playing S, and if player 1 plays B there, then player 1 gets 0. And so that is just 1. We can also calculate player 1's expected utility from playing S. And that would be with 1/2 probability. You're in the state of the world where player 2 is going to play B, and so with 1/2 probability, SB happens here, and player 1 gets 0. Plus, with 1/2 probability, we're in this state of the world where player 2 is playing S, and with probability 1/2 SS in this game happens here. So you get 1. So that's 1/2. Right, I hope that made sense, because we can then also, this is a video, so at any point if something doesn't make sense, you can pause, rewind, rewatch it. Also follow along from the book. I think that is helpful. But what this allows us to do is to specify what player 1's expected payoffs will be from playing each of these strategies, each of these actions. This is player 1, this is player 2. Let's say player 2 plays B, B, or B, S, or S, B, S, S. These are the 4 options for player 2, right? You've got BB, BS, SB, and SS. If player 1 is playing B in a world where each type of player 2 is playing B, then player 1's expected payoff will be 1/2 times 2 plus 1/2 times 2, right? Because with probability 1/2, player 1 is in BB, which is over here, and with probability 1/2, this BB takes place. So that's just 2. From playing S, with probability 1/2, player 1 is in this world and is earning 0, and with probability 1/2 player 1 is in this world and earning 0. So that's just 0. Against BS, we actually calculated these two values, so that's 1 and 1/2. Against SB, so here the first type of player 2 is playing S, the second type is playing B. So if I play B against that as player 1, with the probability 1/2 I earn this 0, and with the probability 1/2 I earn this 2. So that is 1/2 times 0 plus 1/2 times 2, which is equal to 1. And again, against SB, if player 1 plays S, then with probability 1/2, player 1 is here and earning 0, and with probability 1/2, player 1 is here and earning 0. Sorry, S. So here and earning 1. So that's probability 1/2 times 1, that one, and probability 1/2 times 0, this 0. And finally, against SS, so here player 2 is always playing S irrespective. With probability, if player 1 plays B, then with probability 1/2, player 1 is earning 0, and with probability 1/2, player 1 is earning 0. So that's a 0. And with if player 1 is playing S, then with probability 1/2, player 1 is here and earning 1, and with probability 1/2, player 1 is here and is earning 1. So that's just 1. Alright, so that concludes the second part of today's lecture. I'm just going to make a bunch of small videos like this, because that way I make fewer errors. That said, I'm still going to make mistakes, but hopefully it'll get better as the course progresses. I hope you guys are doing well.